Okay, we are back with a video for rounding to tens or hundreds. Now there's a little rhyme that I was once taught by a fellow teacher that goes with rounding. And it goes like this: 5 or more up the score, 4 or less let it rest. And what that's referring to is the number behind the place value that you're trying to round to. If it is 5 or more, which is going to be 5 through 9, we increase the value of the number in front of it by 1. If it's 4 or less, we leave the number in front of it alone. And so we are asked to, in this case, to round 26 to the nearest tens place. So 26, we should know by now that the 2 is in the tens place, and that's what we're trying to round to. And so I'm still going to label it anyway, tens and ones. And so we are trying to round to this place right here. So what we need to do is look at the number after it and ask ourselves, is that more or less than 5? And it should be more or equal to 5 or less than 5. And that's why the rhyme 5 or more up the score, 4 or less let it rest. So is that 5 or more? And the answer is yes, 6 is 5 or more. 6 is more than 5. So we need to increase the value of the 2 to be a 3. So 26 rounded to the nearest tens place is going to be 30. We'll check. And it says I'm correct. So moving on to the next one. We're asked to round 694 to the nearest 10. So 694. Again, we have our ones place, tens place, hundreds place. We're asked to round to the nearest 10. So we want to look at the number after the 9 and ask ourselves the question, is that 5 or more? The answer is no, it is 4 or less, so we let it rest, which means that we leave the 9 alone. We do not increase it to be a 10, which would then turn the 6 into a 7, but we're not going to go there. So that number behind the 9 is 4 or less, so we leave the 9 alone. 690. All right. We're going to try another. 14 to the nearest 10. We have our ones place and our tens place. We're rounding to the tens place, so we need to look at the number after the 1 there and say, is that 5 or more, or is it 4 or less? And the number after the tens place is 4 or less, so we let it rest. That's going to make that a 10. And for this video, we will do one more, since this is going pretty quickly. And we have 418 to the nearest 100. So 418. We do have our ones place, tens place, hundreds place. We are asked to round to the nearest 100, so that's the 4. We look at the number after the 4 and ask, is it 5 or more, or is it 4 or less? Well, 1 is definitely 4 or less, so we let it rest, which is going to make that number 400. And we got it. That's going to be it for this video. As always, I hope that this was helpful.